Welcome home. In the previous session, we have discussed about bricks in the construction materials, and today's session we are going to discuss about structural steel in the construction materials. Okay, let us move on to our topic and listen one more thing. At the end of the session, assignments will be given for you. Okay, so you should fully watch the video, then only you can answer for this that assignment questions. Okay, that you should submit it to the mail. I will be posting the mail id at the end of the session. Okay, let's move on to the session. First of all, what is structural steel? Okay, in the previous classes itself, we have discussed what is a steel and what is structural steel. Okay, because steel means steel itself has many applications. Okay, as we all know about it, right? Whereas the structural steel is something that is purely used only for the construction application, construction works. The steel which we are using for the construction work, that steel is termed as structural steel. Okay, and it is available in various shapes. Next, we are going to see what are all the different grades of the structural steel. Totally, there are three grades. One is Fe250, Fe415, and Fe500. That 250 is before knowing about those things. First, you should know why that name is given. Okay, the prefix Fe denotes the ferrous content because steel is mainly composed of iron. Okay, so that only it is denoted as Fe. Fe denotes the ferrous, whereas the suffix 250, 415, 500 and all denotes the yield stress of the steel. Okay, yield stress of the steel. Since it is the ductile material, the percentage of elongation of the steel will be more than concrete and all. Okay, so for mild steel, the percentage of elongation is 23%. For Fe415, it is 27%. For Fe500, it is 31%. And here you should also note one more thing. This Fe250 means mild steel. Okay, whereas Fe415 and Fe500 is known as high yield strength bars. Okay, they will be telling us HYSD bars, which means high yield strength deformed bars. That is called as HYSD bars. This Fe415 and Fe500 comes under HYSD bars, and Fe250 is known as mild steel. Okay. And you should note one more thing also. Basically, in steel structures, the design we will be using only ultimate strength. Okay, in the design of steel structures, we will be using the ultimate strength of the steel. Whereas in the design of concrete, that is a reinforced concrete structures, we will be using the yield stress of the steel, because there in the design of concrete structures, it will be based on the under reinforced section. Under reinforced section means the steel should yield first. Compared to concrete, the steel should yield first. For that purpose, what we are doing is we will be using the yield stress in making reinforced concrete design, whereas in the design of steel structure, we will be using the ultimate strength. Okay, ultimate strength is something different from steel stress. Yield stress, you all know about it. Okay. Next, why we are going for this structural steel? What is the purpose of using steel in construction? Okay, because we are having concrete. Why we should choose that steel? Will be the first thing that will be rising in your mind is cost. The cost of the steel will be high, and second thing is corrosion. So let me discuss what are all the advantages about the structural steel, which means what are all the advantages of the steel we are using in the structural applications. Okay, the first one is that it has very good strength when compared to the conventional concrete, because the minimum grade of the steel is 250. We all see now only. Okay, the minimum grade of steel is 250 Newton per mm square. That is 250 megapascal. That is the yield stress. For concrete, the minimum grade we are using in construction is M20 grade concrete only we will be using for construction. Okay, that is the minimum grade. FCK for concrete, that is the characteristic strength of concrete, is 20 Newton per mm square. So now you compare the yield stress of steel, that is the minimum value of the minimum grade, minimum minimum steel grade with the minimum grade you are using for concrete structure. here it is 250, whereas for concrete it is only 20 Newton per mm square, right? So the yield stress of steel is 12.5 times more than the strength obtained from the concrete. So here what they are concluding is it gives very good strength when compared to concrete. Okay. Next important point is steel is more economical than other type of materials. You may ask how it would be economical. The maintenance cost of the steel is obviously high, okay, but the construction cost of the steel is lesser when compared to concrete, because we will be discussing about the strength to weight ratio when we are discussing about economy. Okay, so the strength to weight ratio for the steel section will be higher than concrete section, because we all know the strength of the steel is high compared to concrete, whereas the weight of the steel will be surely less than the weight of the concrete structures. So when we are going for very large plan buildings or for tall structures and even for bridges and all, we can use this structural steel for the construction as the construction material. Okay, and its construction is very rapid because it is easy to assemble. Okay, so the construction speed will be high, and it can be repaired easily. If you want to repair any part, you can just take that part alone and you can repair it. You don't need to rectify fully by any other method and all. Okay, and also it is a very good ductile material first of all. Okay, ductile material is based on the percentage of elongation of that material. In steel, the percentage of elongation will be more than 15%. Not only steel, all the ductile materials has the percentage of elongation more than 15%. Whereas for the intermediate ductile material is there, which may, for example, that intermediate ductile material is magnesium. Okay, its percentage of elongation will be between 5 to 15%. And another one material called brittle. For brittle material, the percentage of elongation is less than 5%. Brittle material means that concrete, cast iron, stone, glass, it's all comes under the brittle materials. The scrap value is 100% for the steel components. Okay, and it is of very good quality when compared to concrete. And it has some of the disadvantages also. That is one we have already discussed. That is the maintenance cost of the steel is very high, and when it is exposed to fire or any some other natural conditions like hydration, oxidation and all, what happens means corrosion will occur. When it is exposed to fire, the strength of the steel member will decrease and obviously it is prone to failure. Okay. Next we are going to see the composition of the steel. Okay. The major component of the steel is iron. We have discussed already. Steel is an alloy, so it consists of various metals. The major constituent is iron and the second is carbon, and the remaining will be some of the traces of metals are there. Iron is about 98% in the steel. Okay, whereas carbon is about 0.1 to 1.1%. That remaining 0.9% composes of these remaining metals. Okay, this is the composition of the steel. Here you should note, based on this carbon content, that steel is classified into three types. One is low carbon steel, second one is medium carbon, and third one is high carbon steel. When the carbon content is between 0.1 to 0.25%, it is known as low carbon steel. And when the carbon content is between 0.25 to 0.60%, it is known as medium carbon steel. And when it is between 0.6 to 1.1%, it is known as high carbon steel. And here you should also need one more thing. The percentage of elongation of the low carbon steel is 23%. Okay, and the elongation of the low carbon steel before fracture is 10%. This is very, very important. In competitive exam point of view, this question is very important. The percentage elongation of the steel before fraction is 10%. Okay, then you will be asking what are all the applications of these three different types of carbon steel. Okay, why we are classifying these steel based on this carbon. Okay, that and all we will discuss later. Before that, we shall just know what are the applications of these three types of carbon steel. First one, low carbon steel. This only will be using for construction. For structural steel will be mostly of low carbon steel, because if the carbon content increases, the ductile nature of the steel will get decreased. Okay, the carbon content is inversely proportional to the ductility of the metal. So whenever the carbon content is lesser, it will be preferable for the structure. That is what for structural applications we are going for low carbon steel. So it is used for reinforcing materials. Okay, the different shapes are there. I sections, a channel section, angle sections are all there. Okay, this medium carbon steel is used in rails for making tires, and wherever the high tensile strength is required, this kind of steel can be used. And high carbon steel is used to make the stone masonry tools. For example, this hammer and all, they will be to make that hammer, they will be using this high carbon steel. Next, we are going to discuss about the properties of the steel. You know what is meant by yield stress. We have discussed already. You know what is meant by ultimate strength, hardness, ductility, and toughness. Okay. And here you should note one more thing. Whenever the carbon content in the steel increases, this yield stress, ultimate strength, and hardness, that first three criteria will increase. Okay. Whereas the ductility and the toughness of the steel will get decreased. Okay. I repeat, whenever the carbon content in the steel increases, yield stress and ultimate strength and hardness will increase, and the ductility and the toughness of the steel get decreased. Next, coming to the physical properties of the steel. First, we are going to note what is the specific gravity of the steel. The specific gravity of the steel is 7.85. Just note it down. And the density of the steel is 7,850 kilogram per meter cube. Young's modulus of the steel is 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. The Poisson ratio of the steel is 0.3. Okay, this is the standard data. Okay, the Poisson ratio of the steel is 0.3. This is according to the IS code IS 800 2007. Okay, this is the latest updated version of the steel code. Okay, whereas this Poisson ratio is said as 0.25 in the previous IS code, that is a previous edition of the IS code, that IS 800 in the year 1984. In that edition, they will be telling the Poisson ratio of steel as a 0.25, but now it is in the new updated version, it is given as 0.3. So whenever the question raises what is the Poisson ratio of steel, you should answer as 0.3. Okay. Next, the modulus of rigidity. You all know what is meant by modulus of rigidity. The modulus of rigidity of the steel is 0.767 into 10 power 5 megapascal. Megapascal or Newton per mm square. Okay. Next, you will be asking, there are actually two kind of steel. Based on the manufacturing process, they will be splitting the type of steel into two types. Okay. One is hot rolled and another one is cold formed steel. In hot rolled, they will be heating the steel at 700 degrees Celsius, and then it will be casted into the required shapes. Okay. In the previous slide itself, we have discussed that it has a variety of shapes like L shape, I section, angle section, and all possible. Okay. So whatever shape is required, according to that shape, we will be molding that hot steel. Okay, we will be molding according to the shape we need, and then the temperature will be decreased to the room temperature. Okay, this causes shrinkage. We all know the temperature variation will cause shrinkage, and it produces some residual stresses in the steel. This will make the steel to not differentiate between upper and the lower yield point. Okay, it will not differentiate the upper and the lower yield point. There will be only one yield point. That is called hot rolled steel. Whereas in cold formed steel, you will be thinking that cold formed means they will be making that steel below 0 degrees Celsius. No, not at all. Here what they are doing is they are not heating the steel, which means they are manufacturing the cold normal steel in the room temperature itself. They are not making it under 0 degrees Celsius. Cold formed steel is manufactured at room temperature. It is very important to be noted. Okay. Since it is made in the room temperature itself, there will not be any residual stresses and all. So it has definite upper yield point and lower yield point. For design purposes, we will be taking the lower yield point. Okay. Next, moving on to the codes and standards. The important code for steel structure design in IS standard is IS 800. For cold formed steel, we are not having that much codes in our Indian standard. For that and all, we will be using only Australian New Zealand code or North American specification. Now it's enough to know about the IS standards. Okay, so for hot rolled sections, we will be using that IS 800. Initially, it was developed in the year 1956 to 1962. Later in the year 1984, they are updated for the working stress method, and in the 2007, they are updated for the limit state method. Okay, now the question will be raised, what is the working stress method and the limit state method? Okay, in working stress method is nothing, it's a linear method of analysis. I mean, linear method of design. Okay, not analysis, this is the linear elastic method for the design. In this, what happen means they will be designing the member for the working loads. For safety of the structural members, working stress are to be calculated under various working load combinations that should be equal or less than the permissible stress. The permissible or allowable stress, it should be the load, the working stress you are calculating using that working load should be less than the allowable stress of the structural steel. Okay. Next, here they won't consider the uncertainty in the load. Okay. And when coming to the limit state method, what happens means they will be calculating the design strength, and that should be less than or equal to the design action of that steel member. Design action means like the design value for its internal forces and the internal moments due to the factored loads. Here what they are doing is they are considering the uncertainty in the load. For that purpose, they are using the partial safety factor to obtain the factored load, and for that design load, they will be calculating the forces. That is, forces means it may be the axial force or shear force and the internal moments for that section, and it should be less than the design strength of the steel. Okay. Next, we are talking about the loads that were acting on the steel structures. Okay. There are different types of load: dead load, live load, wind load, some kind of special loads. Special loads means that snow loads and all come snow load. Okay. Snow loads and all comes under the special kind of loads. And the last one is combination of these loads. Okay. Dead load, for dead load, they will be using IS 875 part 1. Now you note down the year of the IS 875. In this slide, I didn't mention that. IS 875 1987. Okay, part 1 of this code is used to find the dead load. Part 2 is for live load. And part 3 is for wind load. Some special kind of loads are also possible, like snow loads, which all comes under part 4. The combination of these loads are discussed in the IS 875 1987 part 5. Okay, this is all about steel. There are then we have to discuss about the different types of different shapes of the steel. Okay, in the next session we will be discussing about that. And here is your assignment questions. With this question, you also answer for one more question for me. Okay, so totally 12 questions. The 12th question is, tell me which of the component in the composition of steel is responsible for making the steel as a stainless steel. Okay, there is a difference between the stainless steel and the normal steel. Okay, that difference is due to some of one of the chemical component in the, sorry, not chemical component, one of the metals in the composition of the steel. Okay, the metals we have discussed already. Okay, iron, carbon, sulfur, chromium, nickel and all. Okay, in those things, one is responsible for making it as a stainless steel. Which component that is responsible for making the steel to the stainless steel? Okay, answer that question also. You may answer in the comment box, or you may answer while submitting this in the assignment. Okay, please answer for that question also. So totally 12 questions is assigned for your assignment. You should submit this assignment answers through this mail ID. Okay, you may note down the mail ID, and thank you all for watching. Thank you.